Last time we talked about something that's often overlooked in the fitness industry. The fact that almost everything we know about training, nutrition, and performance has been based on men. Research, training plans, and even the way most fitness professionals structure programs, all of it's been built around the male body and very little consideration for the physiological differences women experience. Listen, that is a problem. We are not small men. Our bodies function completely differently. Our hormones shift on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, and these hormonal fluctuations impact our energy levels, strength, endurance, recovery, and even how our bodies utilize nutrients. Yet, for decades, little to no research has been done on how women should actually train to optimize for these changes. Now, the good news is that science is finally catching up. Studies are now emerging that are investigating how the menstrual cycle impacts athletic performance. And one of the biggest studies currently being conducted is the IMPACT study, which is taking a deep dive into whether training in alignment with your menstrual cycle can actually lead to better performance, improved strength, and more effective recovery. But before we go any further, let's address the real problem you might be wondering. Does the menstrual cycle actually impact how well you train, or is this just a gimmick? Here is what we do know. Most women feel changes in their bodies throughout the month. Some weeks you feel powerful. You walk into the gym and everything feels light. You're hitting personal records, you're feeling strong and recovering quickly. And then other weeks, it's like you're training in quicksand. Your energy is lower, weights feel heavier, and mentally, you might even feel unmotivated or sluggish. For years, women have pushed through this without questioning it. And we've been conditioned to believe that training should look the same every single week. That if we're serious about progress, we have to be consistent, grind it out, and not let anything stop us. And listen, there is nothing wrong with dedication and pushing through hard days. But the reality is, your body is not the same every day. Your hormones fluctuate, your metabolism shifts, your body's ability to recover changes, and your training should reflect that. So the question is, does science actually back this up? Can adjusting your workouts based on your menstrual cycle lead to better results? Or is it just another fitness myth? And that's exactly what we're going to be breaking down today. Because here's the thing. Understanding your body is power. When you know what's happening inside of you, you can make smarter choices about how you train, how you eat, and how you recover. Instead of feeling like your performance is random and unpredictable, you will start seeing patterns and understanding how to use them to your advantage. This is not about making excuses. This is not about saying, oh, I'm on my period, so I shouldn't work out. No, honey, this is about working smarter, maximizing your performance, and optimizing your body's natural rhythms to get the best possible results. In today's video, we're going to break down your menstrual cycle phase by phase and talk about how each stage affects your performance. But this is just step one. In the next video, we're gonna go even further and show you exactly how to build a training plan based on your cycle so you can start applying this to your workouts immediately. Before we dive in, I want you to do two things. First, if you've ever noticed a difference in your strength, endurance, or recovery at different points in your cycle, drop a comment below and let me know. I wanna hear from you. What are some of the things that you've experienced and how do you overcome that? Make sure that you also smash that like button right now so that way more women can see this and learn about how to make the most out of their training. Your menstrual cycle is not just about your period. It's a full continuous cycle that involves shifting hormone levels that fluctuate everything, your metabolism, your muscle recovery, your energy production, and even how your body utilizes carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. This is why some weeks you feel strong and powerful and other weeks you feel completely drained. It's not just random, it's your hormones at work. Your cycle is broken down into 4 distinct phases, each with unique hormonal shifts that impact your ability to train at your highest level. Now, these phases are the menstrual phase. This is when your period is actually happening. The follicular phase. This is when estrogen starts to rise and your body prepares for ovulation. The ovulatory phase. This is when your body releases an egg and your energy and strength are at their peak. The luteal phase. This is when progesterone increases and your body prepares for a potential pregnancy. Most women do not track these phases or even think about them beyond, oh, I'm on my period. But understanding what's happening in each phase will help you to train better, recover better, and avoid the frustration of plateaus. So let's go ahead and break down the menstrual phase, which is the first 5 days and what's happening in your body. Now, this is the phase that most of us are familiar with because it's when we're actually getting our period. Now, here at the start of your cycle, the estrogen and progesterone levels drop significantly, triggering the shedding of the uterine lining. This is what causes the bleeding. Now, because your hormonal levels are at their lowest, this phase often comes with fatigue, cramps, bloating, and in some cases, joint discomfort. Your body is going through an inflammatory response, which can impact how your muscles feel and how you recover and how much energy you have to train. Some women experience low motivation, headaches, and even lower endurance capacity during this phase, while others just feel completely normal. Now, how does this affect your training? Well, one of the biggest myths about training during your period is that you should just rest and not work out at all. And honey, guess what? That's not necessarily true. It's all about listening to your body and adjusting the intensity. During the menstrual phase, your endurance may be slightly reduced, meaning high intensity workouts may feel a little bit harder. However, strength training is actually a great option during this time. Now, some research suggests that low estrogen levels allow for better muscle recovery, meaning that lifting weights is still beneficial. If you're experiencing severe cramping, bloating, or fatigue, then lower intensity workouts like steady state cardio, mobility work, stretching, all of these can help to ease symptoms without overloading your body. Light movement also helps to increase the circulation, and that helps to reduce the period-related discomfort we always feel. Now, if you feel fine, you can continue strength training as you normally would. But just be aware that if you're feeling more fatigued than usual, lowering the intensity slightly or just focusing on good technique rather than max effort may be beneficial. Now, your nutrition during this phase is something we got to talk about. Since your body is going through this inflammatory response, nutrient-dense foods will help to support your energy levels and recovery. So I want you to focus on iron-rich foods like spinach, red meat, lentils, and quinoa to compensate for the iron loss during menstruation. Anti-inflammatory foods like salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, and turmeric help with the cramping and bloating. Stay hydrated as well to offset bloating and water retention. Now, if you're craving carbs or sweets, that's because your body is using more carbohydrates for energy during this phase. So instead of fighting the cravings, opt for complex carbohydrates like oats, sweet potatoes, or whole grains to maintain that stable blood sugar levels. Now let's talk about the follicular phase, and that's days 6 to 14, and what's happening in your body. After your period ends, estrogen levels start rising. Estrogen is a powerful anabolic hormone, meaning it helps with muscle growth, recovery, and energy production. This is when your body is primed for strength training and endurance workouts. Estrogen increases insulin sensitivity, meaning your body is more efficient at using carbohydrates for energy. And you'll likely feel stronger, you'll be faster, and be more capable of pushing yourself harder and harder in the gym. Now, how does this affect training? Well, this is the best phase for hypertrophy training, progressive overload, and heavy lifting. Since your energy levels are rising, your body will respond well to strength training with heavier loads and lower rep ranges, explosive motions like sprinting, jumping, and HIIT style workouts, and using progressive overload. This is the time to aim for those personal best. Now, if you're looking to build muscle, this is when you want to prioritize your hardest workouts. Take advantage of the natural hormonal environment that allows for greater muscular recovery and increased performance. Now, your nutrition during this phase is also something we got to consider. Since estrogen improves how your body utilizes carbohydrates, this is the phase where you can increase your carb intake to fuel your workouts. Your body will efficiently use that glycogen, meaning that you'll feel more powerful and you'll be able to train harder. Increase your lean protein as well to support muscular growth. So this is where you definitely want to get in more carbs like brown rice, oats, fruits, whole grains, and stuff like that. And continue eating the anti-inflammatory foods to support recovery. Next up is the ovulatory phase, and that's days 15 to 17. So ovulation is when estrogen peaks and testosterone levels slightly increase. So this is when you'll likely feel your absolute strongest and fastest. However, this phase also comes with an increased risk of injury. During ovulation, your body is primed for peak performance. Now, this is the best time for you to do high intensity interval training or HIIT, strength training at maximal effort, sprinting and explosive power type of workouts. But don't go too crazy because your ligaments become looser due to the increased estrogen. And as women, we're more prone to injuries like ACL tears during this phase. So focus on proper warm-ups, stability training, and controlled movements. And finally, we have the luteal phase, and that's days 18 to 28. So after ovulation, progesterone rises and estrogen levels gradually decline. Now, this shift can make you feel more fatigued and sluggish and just less motivated to train. Your body is now prioritizing recovery and energy conservation, which means this is not the best time for you to go max with your workouts. Since your body is burning more calories during this phase, endurance training might feel harder. And so you might start to notice a reduced strength capacity. You'll notice increased muscle soreness during this time. You'll have less energy for high intensity training as well. So this is a great phase for deload weeks and moderate intensity workouts and active recovery. It's not the time to try to break new records, but rather to focus on consistency and movement. Now, your nutrition during this phase, you want to consider that your metabolism is increasing slightly and your body starts to crave more calories. So you might start feeling hungrier than usual, and that's totally normal. So instead of fighting the cravings, support your body with nutrient-dense foods like healthy fats. You want avocados, nuts, olive oil to support hormone production. Magnesium-rich foods to reduce bloating and fatigue. And then you want to get more protein to aid in muscle recovery. Now, by adjusting your training and nutrition to match each phase, you can work with your hormones instead of working against them, leading to better performance, fewer plateaus, and more consistent results. But all right, now that you know exactly what's going on in your body, we still got a little bit more to discuss, and that's how to start tracking your cycle and training smarter at the same time. I mean, let's face it, knowing all of this stuff is great, right? But if you are not tracking, then you're just guessing, girl. And when it comes to optimizing your performance, we do not guess, honey, we strategize. So if you've never tracked your cycle before, it might feel a little overwhelming at first, but I promise you it's easier than you think. And once you start, you're going to start to notice patterns in your performance that you never paid attention to before. You'll start recognizing the days where your energy is through the roof and the days where you need to dial it back. You'll stop feeling like your training results are unpredictable and start working with your body instead of working against it. Now, the best way to start tracking your cycle is by using an app, a journal, or both. Now, there are plenty of apps out there on the market. I personally use one called the Period Tracker, which I've been using for well over a decade. These apps allow you to enter the start and end of your period, track your symptoms throughout the month, and even give you insights on what phase you're currently in. But you don't need an app to track your cycle. You can also do this with a simple notebook or training journal. But here's the thing. You don't have to be rigid. Some months you might feel amazing during your period and want to train hard. Other months you might feel like you need to scale back more. The key is just to have that flexibility and learning to listen to your body. And here's the thing. You don't have to change your entire training program overnight. You can start small. Start tracking your cycle, make small adjustments, and experiment with different strategies to see what works best for you. The more in tune you become with your body, the better your results will be. You'll be recovering faster, you'll prevent burnout, and train in a way that's sustainable for life. Now you have everything you need to start tracking your cycle, understanding how each phase impacts your training, and making small adjustments to work with your body instead of against it. But this is just the beginning. In the next video, we're going to take this to the next level by building a fully structured, periodized training plan based on your cycle. This is going to get a lot more advanced. This is where you're going to really get down to that practical breakdown and how to design a 4-week training split that optimizes for muscle growth, strength, endurance, and recovery. Oh yeah, baby, we are going deep. So if you are serious about training smarter and maximizing those results, honey, go ahead and make sure that you watch this video right here and watch all the videos in this series. I will see you over there.